So thank you for coming to Tricky Bidness. I appreciate it. Nice to see everybody. The movie started in 2009. I was taking care of my mom who had dementia and memory loss. And I was living in the town of Arcata. I'd lived in that area for about 20 years and was kind of used to the marijuana scene there. But being home with my mom, so much, I saw what was going on in the neighborhood. And across the street from me on this cul-de-sac, there were 3 houses, and they were all involved in the drug business in some way. So I said, this is really distinctly different, because we'd always known people who grew up in the hills, and growing was part of the culture, but it had never been in the city like that before. So I called my friend and said, we need to make a documentary film about this. There's something really unusual going on. And so we did most of our interviews in 2009, and we finished the movie in 2013. So, any questions?
Yeah, well, just from what you see going on now, do you think, as far as planning, like in Colorado now, I know it's legal, not just for medical, but have they seen pretty much the example to see, here's what we don't do possibly?
They've tried to do
zoning, the zoning and all that?
Well, both of the Colorado and Washington tried to do restrictions based on what they had seen the mistakes being made in California. So they definitely had laws about how somebody was going to buy, how they were tracking where the marijuana was coming from and all that. But the problem is that, like Colorado, I think it is, has the medical side of it, and then they have the recreational side of it. Medical is taxed at a lower rate.
Right.
Recreational is a higher rate. Recreational, once you have the marijuana in your pocket, who can say where it came from?
Yeah.
So I will tell you, in Humboldt County right now, we have got the biggest explosion of growing going on ever. Outdoors, I was telling people here that outdoors, you can do a Google Earth search, 8,000 grow houses in southern Humboldt, 8,000.
Wow.
And indoors, they're growing all around the county. Since they passed the law in Arcata, they actually grow houses moved out of Arcata, but they're everywhere else. And everybody who can possibly hold a pair of scissors has been hauled up into the hills to trim marijuana at this point, because it's going to be a huge harvest. And it's going out to Colorado and to Washington. And I will say some of it comes to Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
We definitely, we get a lot of deliveries to Illinois. Yeah. But it's still very much an open question. And as long as the federal government has it as a felony Schedule 1 restriction, as long as it's a patchwork of laws,
right.
Pot is still going to be very expensive, and it'll be worth taking the risks and worth growing it, and the criminality will stay in it.
Yeah.
So it's up to the community how they want to deal with it, but I would kind of like to see a more of evening out of the laws across the nation. I think that the penalties are too high for some things, but when somebody is an abusive grower, or as we could call it, greed weed, and they're doing destructive stuff to the environment or to the communities, then that's what I think has got to be, the penalties got to be for that kind of thing.
Has there been an impact on the open wilderness around Arcata?
One of the problems with these outdoor grow houses, as you saw in the movie, the plant requires water and sunlight, bright light. So the outdoor grows, they're tucked back in the hills, and Humboldt County is actually, if you took Cook County and DuPage County and smashed them together, Humboldt County is a little bit bigger than that. And we've got 160,000 people only living there. So it's very mountainous, very hilly, very, very rural, very secluded. It's not unusual to have a mountain lion walk through town. There are bears, lots of bears. And but the people who are growing out in the woods, they're really tucked away far. They run pumps into the streams, and they suck the water out of the creeks and streams. So it's actually drying up the rivers right now. So we have one river that's completely dry by the time it gets down to the coast. So salmon and fish and they just killed the river. And the other problem is that they run diesel generators outdoors, and that seeps into the water table. So most people are in some kind of wells out there, and their wells are getting polluted. And, and it's trash, and there's some rodenticide they use to protect the plants, because the plants are delicious to rats and to deers. So they put this poison around, and then the poison gets into other wildlife and kills them. So it's at this point, it's like the abuses of the growing community.
Yeah.
Some of the growers, not all, some growers are very respectful and very good, and should be honored like a wine family. But some are really taking advantage of it and doing really bad environmental things.
But overall, like the economy of the town, I know it kind of left it where.
Oh, we're doing fine, thank you. Yeah, no,
Great.
a friend came in, supposedly Humboldt County is a poor county, but when you go into the city of Arcata or Eureka, there are some, $70,000 pickup trucks. There are, Jaguars and Mercedes-Benz and BMWs. It's very different from when I first moved there 25 years ago. There's definitely money in the community, and if the pot money goes out, it's going to be difficult, but we have lots of different industries that we do there. So
You have a university there, don't you?
we have a university. We have a lot of state workers, but we also we make Humboldt Fog cheese, which is a pretty amazing product. We've got great breweries. We do sports equipment. We have oysters. I mean, it's not going to be you suck $5 billion out of an economy, it's going to hurt it. But we also, if pot is legalized, we're still going to have the finest growers. There's going to be, they make beautiful marijuana up there. And if you want the best marijuana, you go to Humboldt County, and it's just going to be like going to Bordeaux. It is just the best place to grow pot. So.
Do you have any drug cartel? I was hearing, I thought it was from your movie, but I didn't see it.
No, well, the drug cartel thing is heavily debated.
Are there helicopters going out in the mountains and sort of like gun battles going on?
Well, there are gun battles, and there are murders, and it's not a good scene. People disappear.
Oh.
But the cartel thing, I think Humboldt County's been pretty good about keeping Mexican cartels out, but there are definite grows that are, and I'm just saying Mexicans, drug cartels, right? But there are grows that are foreign nationals that are the ones who are doing the grunt work, but it's not just South America or Central America or Mexico. We have like this big Bulgarian marijuana growers. Just kind of that's a little bit exotic, but so different groups get the hang of it, and they come up there and they do these things, and I was telling the gentleman outside that a kid who hasn't graduated from high school, who was running a fairly successful grow, was making 125, 150 up a year off of running a crop of marijuana. If you have 700 plants in a house, and you're turning that house a couple times a year, you're making like $1.5 million on the house. So, there's the money is just, and the thing is, it's like having a bucket with a hole in it. The hole is the bad law, and people's human nature is the water rushing out of the hole. If you don't fix the hole, you're going to have people are going to try to make money out of the situation.
And I could tell though by the interview by he was the guy who with the legitimate, with dispensing to that MS patient.
Yeah, the medical marijuana guy.
But I could tell with his last interview, because this I guess is going on in Colorado, like once it's legal and everyone can grow it obviously with no problem.
Yeah.
That can the competition, you know what I mean? If you can buy it up the street from Joe Smith for 400 or whatever, but the distillery place is like, it just, because they can have options where they can get it, I can tell, he's kind of saying, of course, free market, but you might not get the quality we have type of thing. I knew he's
already.
I know that's going to be an issue there. In Colorado, it sounds like that's what's going on, where obviously you're kind of going by it down the street corner like you used to when it was illegal.
Right. Because
now it's legal to sell it there, and you don't need to walk into a formal, place and pay their price.
Well, and
That's good.
Well, for competition, yeah,
Yeah.
but not for the guy who, is in a legitimate store who's got it at the high level
And he's
price.
making, and they're making, the hybridization that they did of
Yeah.
plants up there.
Yeah, his might be better,
Yeah.
but again, they're going with
But
price issues.
At some point, pot's pot,
Right,
it's like,
right.
you don't necessarily have to have the most exquisite pot.
Right,
You can
right.
have just the pot,
Right,
and
right.
pay half as much, so.
So that could be a downside of the legalization for like the businesses
Yeah.
who are, you know what I mean?
Well, there's a lot of businesses that are
Yeah,
dependent on it,
I know.
not just the dispensaries, but the the garden supply stores, and these popped up all over Humboldt County with indoor gardening for indoor tomatoes. So we probably have, the finest indoor tomatoes in the world,
Yeah.
because there are like these wonderful garden stores, and you go in and they will very studiously never say the word marijuana. They will show you the fertilizer, they'll show the lighting, they'll show the hydroponics, they'll explain what you can do and where, how big your canopy can be.
Yeah.
But they definitely will not say anything. And the other thing, the federal government said, you cannot have a marijuana business like a dispensary and put money through the federal banking system.
Right.
So for a while, they couldn't
Right.
do that. Now they've kind of eased up on that. So right now, it's a crazy mixed up situation, and people are really taking advantage of it,
Yeah.
and making money, and
It's kind of like a Wild West thing.
It is.
You don't know where to go with it.
it is.
But invest in those turkey bags.
Yeah.
That looks like,
Yeah.
that would be the stock to get into
Stock
at this
answer.
point. Yeah.
Well, and if you're looking for a job and you want to have an indoor grow supply,
Yeah.
gardening store, I mean, you're involved in nursery work, and you just start a little one, and it's like being Levi, and making the jeans for the people who did the gold rush. It's,
Well, Illinois is kind of just starting with the medical marijuana. They approved everything, and,
Yeah.
so we don't know where it's gonna start going.
I think they don't know it's going to hit them.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I think they're going into this,
Yeah.
trying to learn from what did Colorado do and all this, and,
Right.
see if they can do it.
I think most people have no idea about what a grow house is.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons I really wanted to bring it to Illinois, because I
Yeah.
thought other places don't have the familiarity with this.
Right.
And I really want to see fire departments have a chance to see it. Because there's going to be a fire department somewhere that runs into one of these houses and is just like
I guarantee,
completely.
like every week, there's gonna be a fire where it's gonna be, this is not a crack house here, it's a
Right.
grow house.
Right.
And just every week, there's gonna be some south side fire started by, the electricity
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Did you read that thing where they discovered a big marijuana grow on the south side? Like helicopters flew over, and I'm from South Shore originally, so they said outside of South Shore, the helicopters just passed over and looked down on an empty field, and it was filled with marijuana. It was like half a block worth of marijuana. So the whole neighborhood must have known about it.
Yeah,
But it was like, I was thinking, farms on the south side, there you go.
yeah, right.
That's something. Teach the kids how to harvest. So it's a crazy situation,
Yeah.
and it's tricky business.
Right, very well said.
Well, thank you for coming.
Sure.
Yeah, are you local here, or are you Naperville?
Where I live here, yeah, right up the street pretty much, so,
Cool.
yeah.
And
So-
did you hear about the movie from the film festival, or?
Yeah.
Good,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, I obviously looked and see which ones definitely I want to check out, but, yeah,
I
so.
appreciate
How
you
did you
coming.
find out about the film festival?
What's it?
Where did you find out about the film festival?
Just coming here. I normally come
Come
here at
to the
least
movie
once.
theater?
Yeah, just
You like movies?
typically once or twice a week. I'm
Yeah.
here, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So Humboldt County is 5.5 hours drive from anywhere, and
What was like the interview process for the patient you chose? I know she had the MS there.
Yeah.
Was there other patients that you thought
Well,
would feature that? or-
a lot of these people were people we knew personally, were
Oh, I
friends
see,
of ours.
I see.
And Kathy, I've known for like 30 years,
Uh-huh.
and the woman I made the film with went to high school with her.
Okay.
So that's one of the things, is everybody had sort of known each other or worked with each other. And my partner in the film was on the city council, and she was a city planner in Arcata. So she'd actually worked with people in City Hall.
Yeah.
So whereas they'd been talking a lot to ABC and NBC and CNN,
Yeah.
and they were like, almost, when Lynn sat down, they're like, now they're talking to Lynn. So they were just very frank and very open, and they have said to me since, those are the best interviews we gave, because we trusted you.
Yeah.
And, Kathy is a wonderful person, and she's got just a great person, and she just was very willing to be open about this. And she's really enjoyed, we've gone to other film festivals, and she's participated in it, and we've had a lot of, and she's healthy, she's doing well. She, yeah, it's a terrible disease, you know, but she's still hanging in there, so it's good. Okay? Excellent.
Well, just one more thing.
Sure.
You said though, was it you were there because your mom either lives there or?
Well, I had been in Humboldt County for 25 years,
Oh, I
and my
see.
mom and dad, well, my mom was almost 90,
Oh,
and my dad died, and I had to take care
Oh,
of
I
her.
see.
So I actually brought her up from Southern California and moved her
Oh,
into
I
my
see.
house.
Okay.
And then for years I was a furniture maker. I'm not a filmmaker. So.
Which is tougher?
Well, they're very similar.
Okay.
The furniture making actually will take your finger.
Oh.
I noticed that in filmmaking I wasn't afraid of that. But
We'll do a Q&A on furniture next.
it's actually, with the furniture, you have a lot of little pieces and you put it together and you have kind of a vision.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with a movie.
That's true.
You know, with a movie, you got a lot of little pieces and you have a vision, which you hope, and you don't get to see it all put together till the very
Yeah.
end. So that was similar. All right, thank you.
Well, thank you.
You're a good questioner.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
He's an artist.
Yeah.
He must be an artist, right?
I was an artist, yeah. I was an art major.
Artist in high school.
Yeah.
Do you have an underlying purpose with value attached to it of what you wanted to come out of the film, besides just illustrating the issues that are going on?
Well, really, this all started, you know, because I was taking care of my mom. I was at home. You know, she had dementia and memory loss. I couldn't leave her alone for more than 2 hours at a time. So even though I'd never made a movie before, I would kind of, you know, give her breakfast and then go on the internet and try to figure out how to make a documentary.
Mhm.
So it was like step by step. I had to learn about sound and about the camera and about editing, and you know, it was part of my purpose in doing this movie was having something that was not about caregiving, that I could look forward to in the end and say, here's this project that I'm working on. Because you know, when you have somebody who does 24-hour care, it can, you know, take up a lot of your life. So it was really wonderful to have something at the end, you know, from this process. But as far as the content of the movie, I really want people to have information so they can discuss you know, what's going on with the world of marijuana legalization intelligently, because too often people have tried to do the right thing, like when they voted medical marijuana in California, they did it without a lot of information, and the law they voted in ended up being something that was not clearly defined and gave a lot of loopholes. So it was like a series of good intentions ended up having bad results. So I would love it if this film would be used for people to really start to think deeply about the issues of how they want to legalize. Because it's not when it's going to be legalized, it's how it's going to be legalized. So that's what I would like people to come out of. I wish that fire departments would see this. I wish that governments and organizations would see it, and regular people.
City governments.
City governments.
And it sounded to me like you really cared about the community.
Yeah.
And the health of the community and the peace of the community.
And you know, it's a micro version of what's going on in the macro. So we all care about our local communities, and we care about, you know, the country.
Mhm.
So as long as you have this kind of messed up patchwork of laws, it's not a good situation. So for anybody. So okay. And thank you, Naperville Film Festival. Tricky Business says thank you.